Namaskar. Welcome you all at the literary platform Sahitya Path. You are watching KHAMOSH Bhookh. In the previous episode, we saw how the boy who came to see Buddhiya for marriage crossed all limits. Babuji had left, but this time he had promised to return. Was something developing between Buddhiya and Babuji? Because until now, he had never mentioned coming back. His words reassured Buddhiya that someone was there to look after her. But what surprised her the most was that as soon as she had called out to him from the depths of her heart, Babuji had appeared. To Buddhiya, it felt nothing short of a miracle. For days she had suffered hunger, been pushed around, and reached the brink of death, yet no one had ever come for her. But today, with just one heartfelt plea, her God had arrived thirsty just for her. There could be no greater blessing in her life. Of course, in reality, it was just a coincidence. Babuji had been passing by and happened to stop. Thinking about all this, Buddhiya drifted off to sleep. The next morning was even more beautiful. Buddhiya's life had started to settle into a routine. She would wake up early, clean the house, sweep the doorway, water the plants, bathe, and offer prayers to the Almighty for her deity, her protector. Buddhiya no longer ate at the roadside dhaba. Her lifestyle had changed. She no longer roamed in tattered rags. Now she carried her own plate, took food from the dhaba, and ate at home. She didn't sit on the benches there anymore, nor did she wait for someone to come and feed her. By bringing food home, she ensured she never had to look at anyone for the sake of hunger. And in turn, she avoided unwanted dangers. Ever since she started eating at home, the dhaba owner had only reminded her once about the old dues, but had never insisted. He understood her situation. That morning after breakfast, Buddhiya bathed and dressed in fresh clothes, a bright pink salwar suit with a matching dupatta. Now words fell short of describing her beauty. It was enough to say that whenever she wore good clothes, she looked enchanting. The weather was lovely. She sat on a stone near her little garden, blending into the flowers around her. From a distance, no one could even notice her unless they came closer. Her heart was light, playful. Sitting there, a mischievous thought crossed her mind. What if I call Babuji again and see if he comes? When hearts are connected, messages don't need words or technology. She thought of him, and the message reached Babuji. He was nearby. Having sent her silent call, Buddhiya sat in a particular pose, the one often seen on the backs of trucks, where a girl rests her chin on her knees, gazing ahead. Below the image, the words always read, "Tum kab aoge?" Soon, she saw Babuji's vehicle appear at the foot of the hill. Buddhiya knew his car well by now. She jumped up in excitement, her heart dancing to an unseen rhythm. As Babuji's car stopped, she stilled herself, letting her dupatta fall over her back, waiting for him to come closer. For the first time, Buddhiya welcomed Babuji with an open, happy face. This time, she didn't shrink back, but stood tall. Until now, Babuji had never locked eyes with her, but today, as he glanced at her from head to toe, his gaze faltered at her silky attire. His eyes drifted away, unable to settle on her. Only eyes can shield other eyes. For a brief moment, his gaze met Buddhiya's, but he quickly turned his face away, as if battling an internal conflict, whether to look into her eyes again or not. Babuji handed her a small bag and they both stepped inside. As he looked around, he noticed that the house seemed exceptionally clean and even the khatia had been repositioned. Babuji sat on the edge of the khatia, letting his legs dangle. Buddhiya placed the bag on the iron trunk and fetched a water-filled thali, sitting on a low wooden pidha near his feet. Carefully she removed his shoes and socks and placed his feet into the water, washing them gently. This time she wasn't emotional. Her face radiated with satisfaction and joy. With great care she washed his feet, then sprinkled the water around the house, even letting a few drops fall on herself before pouring the rest under the neem tree outside. Buddhiya spread a sack on the floor and placed a harmonium on the khatia before her. She set the dhol in her lap and sat cross-legged. Both tuned their instruments. Babuji struck the first note of an old bhajan sung by MANOJ-ARVIND. तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तू प्यार का सागर है। लौटा जो दिया तुमने, चले जाएंगे जहाँ से हम, तो प्यार का सागर है। घायल मन का पागल पंछी, उड़ने को बेकरार, उड़ने को बेकरार। पंख है कोमल, आँख है धुंधली, जाना है सागर पार, जाना है सागर पार। अब तू ही से समझा, अब तू ही इसे समझा। राह भूले थे कहाँ से हम, तो प्यार का सागर है। तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तो प्यार का सागर है। The next verse of the song beautifully explains the inner conflict of both. इधर झूम के गाए जिंदगी, उधर है मौत खड़ी, उधर है मौत खड़ी। कोई क्या जाने कहाँ है सीमा, उलझन आन पड़ी, उलझन आन पड़ी। कानों में जरा कह दे, कानों में जरा कह दे, कि आए कौन दिशा से हम, तो प्यार का सागर है। Both of them were entangled in their own thoughts. However, Buddhiya's confusion had mostly cleared. She had made Babuji her sole purpose. Like a river longing to merge with the ocean, she was desperate to dissolve into Babuji because apart from him, nothing good had ever happened in her life. But Babuji's mind was still tangled in a web of thoughts. He was so composed and serious that it was difficult to decipher what was going on in his mind. As soon as the song ended, Babuji spoke, "Buddhi." Buddhiya, lost in thought, was startled and looked at him. Smiling, she said, "Didi used to call me that too." Babuji chuckled and said, "There is something to eat in the bag. Bring it, let's eat. Also bring some water." Buddhiya brought the water and placed it before him. She took the harmonium lying in front of Babuji and put it back in its place. Then she picked up the bag and stood near the corner. Babuji took a piece of jalebi, extended it toward Buddhiya, and gestured for her to sit on the khatiya. She hesitated to take it, but he said, "Today I will feed you with my own hands." With that, he placed the jalebi into her mouth. As Buddhiya ate, tears streamed down her face. She said, "I don't remember my mother, but Didi would sometimes feed me with the same love." She continued eating the jalebi while sobbing softly. Babuji gently held her chin, lifted her face and said, "Look at me, Buddhi. From today, you are not Buddhi, you are Medha." Buddhiya stopped sobbing and curiously asked, "What does that mean, Babuji?" "It means the same as Buddhi," he replied. "But your appearance has changed now. You look like a fairy, so your name should also be like that." Buddhiya had already stopped sobbing and now she chirped excitedly, "Really, Babuji? Do I really look like a fairy?" She ran towards the mirror. There was a small mirror near the box. She picked it up and tried to see herself, but only her face was visible. Looking at Babuji, she said, "See, Babuji, I can't see my full reflection in this mirror." Babuji smiled and said, "But I can see you completely." Buddhiya giggled and said, "Then I'll look into your eyes." She came close and gazed into his eyes, then said, "But I look so tiny in them." Babuji promised, "Next time I come, I'll bring a big mirror where you can see your whole self." Ignoring his words, Buddhiya sat very close to him on the khatiya and continued looking into his eyes. When she remained silent, Babuji shook her by the arms and said, "Medha, I brought new clothes for you today. Will you try them on?" Without replying, she opened the bag, took out the clothes and started changing. Seeing this, Babuji quickly stood up to leave, but she held his hand and made him sit on the khatiya. However, but for Buddhiya, he was like a deity. How could he let his dignity fall? He quickly rushed outside and began enjoying the weather in Buddhiya's small garden. Buddhiya knew that Babuji would never watch her change. She was testing her God. Before stepping out, Babuji had thought about covering his head with the old, worn-out kathari on the khatiya to avoid seeing anything. But after noticing its filthy condition, he had simply run outside. Once he had changed, Buddhiya called out to Babuji. As he stepped inside, he was left stunned. Buddhiya was glowing like a 1,000-watt bulb, illuminating the entire room. She was wearing a vibrant red lehenga choli with a matching dupatta, an unparalleled, unimaginable beauty that Babuji had never seen before. Sitting on the khatiya, he gazed at her from head to toe. Since the lehenga choli left the midriff exposed, Buddhiya quickly pulled her dupatta over her stomach and innocently said, "Babuji, in these clothes my hunger is visible." Babuji softly replied, "No, Medha, in these clothes your beauty is visible." As he stood up, Medha rushed toward him and embraced him tightly. The warmth of her breath caressed Babuji's neck. Feeling this sweet, warm sensation, he rested his chin on her head. The hands he had hesitated to lift earlier now rested gently on her shoulders. Medha clung to him, but soon she felt something warm and wet on her back. She looked up into his eyes and said, "This is the first time I am seeing a man cry." She continued, "Why is my God sad? The one who fills my lips with a smile. What sorrow does he have? The one who blesses a poor girl with prosperity, what is his pain?" She made Babuji sit on the khatiya, knelt before him and clung to his feet. Looking into his eyes, she pleaded to know the reason for his tears. His eyes overflowed like a mighty river, drenching her. Sobbing, he finally spoke, "Medha, I fear that in my life I have found the most precious gem, but I may lose it." Medha clung even tighter to his feet and said, "Babuji, where am I going? I have now become a lifelong servant of these feet. I have been dyed in the colors of my God. I cannot wash away this color even if I try. You are a nest, and I am the bird that lives in it. How can we be separated unless my nest itself throws me away?" Babuji wept even harder. Medha placed her hand on his neck and felt that his body was burning. "Babuji, you have a fever," she exclaimed. He shook his head and said, "No, this is the fire of sorrow. It will pass." Babuji continued, "Medha, beyond this life, I have another life, another world. You never asked and I never told you. But I have never brought sin before you. Not today, not ever. I have only honored you as an artist. And that respect will always remain for a lifetime. I will give you all the happiness in the world. Whatever you wish, it will happen." Medha was shaken. Even while holding on to his feet, she trembled. Her voice turned a little sharp. Letting go of his feet, she held onto the khatiya and said, "What is this secrecy, Babuji? I have surrendered myself at these feet. All I have ever seen in life is hunger. Shekhua's hunger, the truck driver's hunger, the boy who came to see me for marriage, everyone's hunger. It felt like I was trapped among starving beasts, all wanting to tear me apart, and then I saw peace in your eyes. I never saw hunger in your eyes, never saw thirst." Now, there was a slight distance between Medha and Babuji's feet, but she continued staring deep into his eyes and asked, "Babuji, are you hungry too?" And she kept gazing, searching for an answer.